Hi there, I'm Clarence Waldron. Welcome back to Black Muse. Tonight's guest, you're going to love tonight's guest. Her name is Norma Jean Wright. She's the former lead vocalist of the hit group Chic. You can hear her sing lead on Everybody Dance. Now she's moved on to another level and she's doing another song, a very compelling song I can't wait to talk about, called Ode to Disco. Ode to Disco. Wow. Anyway, let me stop talking. Let's start. Norma Jean Wright, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Good, good, good. Let's start at the very beginning. How did you end up in New York City and you end up as the lead vocalist of the hit group Chic back in the 70s? How did that happen?
All right. Well, after I graduated from Ohio State, I moved to New York City. And when I moved there, I was introduced to a young lady by the name of Lene Davis. Lene was from Detroit. She was actress, singer, skater, dancer, you name it. And she had been working with Nile Rodgers and Bernard Edwards. Nile and Bernard are the founding fathers of the group Chic. She knew that they were looking for a lead female vocalist to front the group, that they were planning to form this new group. They had planned to call the group Chic. And so they were auditioning, looking for a female vocalist to lead the group. I auditioned. After Lene told me about it, I went and I auditioned, and it was Nile, Bernard, and Tony, and I got the gig.
All right. Good, good, good. Wow. So talk about how y'all put together that song, because wasn't Luther Vandross doing backup on that tune?
Well, the song was written by, I think, on Everybody Dance. Nile basically was, or he and Bernard were co-writers. But Luther, who happened to have been the contractor for all of the sessions for Chic, he was a heavy duty vocalist, background singer. He did jingles, so he was contracted to do all of the Chic songs, and he actually ended up being the architect, we say, to that Chic choral vocal sound. But anyways, I met Luther on Everybody Dance. He was in the studio. They had already laid down the background vocals, and I went in to do my leads. And I met Luther at that time. Amazingly talented.
Yes,
Just
indeed.
a and plus he was just such a sweetheart too. He was really a great guy.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, this is Black Music Month. How would you describe the disco era? What was that all about? Was that the time to be a singer?
It was a lot of work. A lot of work. And it was also, I feel that era opened the doors for a lot of Black talent to come through and get record deals, particularly Black women. I mean, there's a book that a friend of mine wrote called The First Ladies of Disco, and it covers the history of 32 of the female trailblazers. And it just talks about that it speaks about that era, which was really, it was hustling, bustling. People were in and out of the studios singing. It was a lot of production going on.
You grew up singing gospel in church, and you also got your bachelor's from Ohio State. How did that church upbringing and your education prepare you for what you're doing right now, today?
Well, starting in the church, first of all, it gave me foundation as far as my grounding, so to speak. That was one of the first things, character building, values in church, And then the
Mm,
singing part was you're there working with a collective of other singers. So you learn how to blend, at least in our choir, we learned how to blend. We also learned how to touch and to emote and to be able to translate what what a song and hymnals, even with the hymnals, we learned early on. It was my sister and I, we started singing in a choir together as, I was about 7 and she was 6. So we started early and we were in that choir for years. We learned how to do duets together and just a
okay.
number of things.
Okay. So great foundation.
Hmm.
Great
That
foundation.
was one of the main things,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Mm-hmm.
going to church because we were there every Sunday
Right.
and
Right.
sometimes during the week.
During the
If
week.
it was revival and if we were in at my grandmother's, she
Mm-hmm.
had us in church all the time.
Okay. And then what was your major in college?
My major in college was liberal arts.
Liberal arts. Okay.
Hmm.
Got it. Got it. And at what point did you decide that you wanted to be a professional singer?
I decided I wanted to be a professional singer when I was about 13 or 14 years old.
Wow.
And my goal was to finish high school and to go to New York and pursue singing. But my dad convinced me to at least, get my degree so I would have something to fall back on. So
Yes.
that's what I did.
And then you also went on to sing background for everybody from Aretha, Madonna, of course, Luther Vandross. What kind of discipline does it take to be a backup singer? Because it's pretty demanding.
Well, you have to know how to, I'd say, blend. If you're working with a number of other singers, it's not just your voice. You're coming in there to create a unit and a sound. And so it's about knowing how to either be breathier at times. You may need to be a little stronger, or you may need to just pull back, shadow someone's voice. So it's a lot of different things that you need to know how to do if you're working as a session singer, because it's not just your voice.
Right, right. What's the difference between recording back in the 70s and recording now? I mean, do you even need a record company?
Well, if the record company was doing right by you, it was a good thing because you had promotion men out there working your record and promoting for you. You had A&R, there was artist development, there was a
Hmm.
budget.
Hmm.
Today, if you're doing it independently, you're basically doing it yourself. There's no, you can hire someone to come on and promote your music for you, which is what I've done. But back in the day, there were promotion men in each city, basically, that would go to those radio stations and push your record. So today it's totally different. You're online and you're basically doing a lot of it yourself.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Now, your latest record, Ode to Disco, set for release July 12th. What's the significance of that date? Why July 12th?
July 12th was the day. It was 19, I hope I have the year correct. It was 78 or 70, I think it was 79.
Hmm.
And a DJ out of Chicago, very popular. He was I think, pop DJ or rock DJ. They collected a number of disco albums took it to Kaminsky Park. There was a big baseball game there, and they burned all of these records. And that was their way of basically protesting the fact that disco had become, mainstream basically. And there were a lot of like pop artists or rock groups that, felt like, wait a minute, what's going on there? Because it had become such a mainstream uh, uh, music, basically.
Hmm.
So they burned all of these records, and it was to really dismantle and destroy, what was happening on the music scene. And they were successful because soon thereafter, after this big protest and where they burned all the records there, about 2 weeks later, I mean, there were program directors that was taking disco music off of their programs, and there were producers. I knew a lot of producers that lost work, and it became really kind of dead after that.
Wow. So how did the demolition of disco, how did that impact your career or anyone
Well,
else's career?
there wasn't the same amount of work.
Wow.
There were some of the clubs even closed down. I mean, it was like a real heavy duty effort to 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 just get rid of it. And a lot of that also had to do with, I think, the powers that be didn't like the fact that with disco music, you had a lot of different groups of people coming together, dancing together, hanging out, gay, straights, black, white. And we were finding the common denominators of being able to come together and have a good time. And the powers that be didn't want that.
That's unbelievable. I mean, back in the 70s, you know what I mean? You would think that we would moved on. Was it racially motivated? Would you dare say that?
I think it was racially motivated. It was also, I think, whenever people again come together and you find those common denominators, you
Hmm.
find that you have more in common than otherwise. Powers that be don't like that. Even today, as far as I'm concerned, I think that's a part of the reason why there's this resurgence because people are sick and tired, I think, of being sick and tired.
Hmm.
And we're
Hmm.
finding ways, music always has some way of it's the universal language, as they say. And disco music was very inspirational. It was uplifting. It gave you hope. And all of those things were elements that just caused people to connect. And I think even today, that is a part of the reason why, because some of the younger kids are listening to some of the old records. There's artists like Sabrina Carpenter and Dua Lipa their productions are very much influenced by disco music.
True, true, true. Tell us who wrote and produced Ode to Disco.
Well, Ode to Disco is co-written by some Mark Wolves. Mark is from the UK. I'm a co-writer on the song. Bert Price and Max Sadek is also one of the writers.
Oh, great, great, great. Now, what do you want listeners to learn from the song? Because it seems like y'all got to tell us this story.
Well, this Ode to Disco covers the history of disco music. It speaks about where it started. And in reference to New York City, there's a DJ by the name of Mr. Macuso, Larry Levan at the Paradise Garage, the Loft. Frankie Crocker was the heavy duty program director at the time who, you could hear the songs in the clubs. The next day, Frankie might have it on the radio. So this was kind of in reference to you could turn a hit from the clubs, you know, to radio without going to the label. So the clubs was kind of dictating what was happening regarding artists getting deals because these kids would be listening to this music and they'd be dancing. They'd let you know what was happening, what was hot. And then you had promoters like Ray Caviano who could go to the clubs, hear the hot song, go see Frankie Crocker, and 2 days later, that record could be on the radio and it could turn out to be a hit.
Yes, yes, yes. Along the way, you toured with Martha Wash and Linda Clifford. Tell us
Mhm.
about that experience.
Oh, I love working with those two ladies, Linda and Martha. We did a First Ladies of Disco tour, and that was about a year and a half ago.
Mm.
Year and a half ago. It was a great, great tour working with them.
Can you name any of your favorite disco songs?
Oh
Top of your
yeah,
head.
Boogie Oogie Oogie.
Okay.
Oh my goodness, Don't Leave Me This Way, Disco Inferno. I could go on and on and on.
Got it. Got it. Got it. Got it. What kind of advice would you give to young folks who are trying to enter the music industry? Because it must take a certain kind of person to deal with the ups and the downs of the business. What would you say to them?
Well, they have to be a little bit thick-skinned to start with because they're going to encounter rejection,
Hmm.
okay? And you need to be really strong, have a strong belief in what your goal is. You need to hone your skills and make sure you're the best that you can be. And you just have to persevere, basically.
Hmm.
And some praying.
Yeah,
Some
I'm
praying might
playing.
help too,
I'm sure. I'm sure that.
especially
Don't forget.
today.
Yeah, don't
Don't
forget.
forget the
Don't
praying.
forget to pray, y'all. Okay. Now this is a very silly question. It's one of our last here. I know you saw the Luther Vandross films.
Oh,
How,
definitely.
yeah, so talk to me about Luther Vandross. How did he help your career? How did he help you?
Oh, Luther opened a number of doors. After leaving Chic, Luther Luther introduced me to the session world, basically. I I think I got my first session by way of Luther.
Hmm.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
So he introduced me to that whole scene, basically.
So now, for example, so when you did session work for Aretha Franklin, what was that? Was that on the Jump to It album or what was that?
Yep, it was jump, jump, jump to it. Luther was the producer.
Oh,
He
yes.
was the
Yeah.
producer of that album.
Right.
So he basically opened the door again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well, I can't believe that our time is up. This was a fast interview. You were great. You were great. Oh my
Thank
God.
you.
Yeah. Anything else that you want to share? Anything else on your mind that I should have asked you or you want to talk about since I got you here?
Oh, maybe just to mention that I do have an EP that was released, and you can, go to Spotify or any of the platforms, and you can stream or download it. It's called Living and Loving Life.
Living and loving life.
Hmm.
Got it. Got it.
And we got
Okay.
that July 12th date
July
for
12th.
Ode to Disco.
The disco. Yes, indeed. Yes,
And thank
indeed.
you.
Well, thank you. But listen, before I let you go, I got to do something that I always do. And I know the viewers like sitting at this seat like, here we go again. But I got to give a little commercial, a little shout out to Howard Sandifer. the producer of this show.
Okay.
But he and his wife, Darlene, are the founders of the Chicago West Community Music School, a great school on the west side of Chicago. And this whole podcast was their idea. They said, let's have lively conversations with legends such as Norma Jean Wright. So here we are with that today. So I thank them. Also for the viewers, y'all got to click like and subscribe. You got to click like and subscribe, y'all. So please do that. And I'll see you next week as we continue Black Music Month. Thank y'all.